Hey, my friend, in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between XLR and Quant, and I'm going to prove to you that Quant is probably at least 500 times bigger than XLR. Now, don't get me wrong, XLR is an amazing project. It's finally someone doing cross-chain properly, so XLR is a great project, but when you really compare the two and you look at the utility, Quant is just so much bigger, and I'm going to prove this to you. This is a must-watch, my friend. If you want that clarity once and for all, and you really want to understand the magnitude of Quant and to see which one is bigger, I promise you this is the video for you. You do not want to miss this video, my friend. This is literally the most important video probably in the XLR QNT community for those that are really trying to understand like which one is bigger and what's the difference between the two. Once you watch this video, there will be no doubt in your mind that Quant is absolutely mind-blowingly bigger than XLR. Again, XLR is a great project, don't get me wrong, but you'll understand after this video. So before we get started, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much for the love that you guys have been showing me in the comments. I really appreciate it. Now, let me explain to you briefly what is XLR and what is QNT, and then I'm going to start showing you the utility and just the mind-blowing difference between the two. I'm very excited about this video because every time I did a video about Quant, everybody's always asking me about XLR. Is it bigger? What's going on? What's the difference between the two? The community's been waiting for this video, and I'm really happy to share this video with you. So, my friend, XLR is for cross-chain. It's a really good interoperability solution for cross-chain. XLR, from my understanding, is one of the only blockchain projects that's doing cross-chain properly. They're using gateways, which is similar to Quant. Quant uses an API gateway. So they're using gateways, and it's really a secure way to do cross-chain. So they're doing cross-chain properly, but the difference is where it's limited is that XLR is just for cross-chain, right? It's for cross-chain, so it's more for DeFi and just the overall space of blockchain communication. So it's limited to just blockchain interoperability to a certain degree, right? The difference with Quant, though, what makes it so much bigger is that Quant is interoperability between all the blockchains and the DLTs and all the other systems that exist in the world. So while XLR is limited to cross-chain interoperability and connecting all the blockchains, Quant is actually interconnecting all of the different blockchains and all of the different systems that exist today, such as databases, software, central banks, commercial banks, payment systems. Every legacy system in the world that exists today can be connected to blockchain using Quant. So Quant is a true universal interoperability for anything to anything, right? And the reason this is so important is because all of the utility we have right now, all of the use cases and all of the industries right now are operating in legacy systems. So, for example, if you look at the commercial banks, central banks, fintechs, all the different companies that do global trade, healthcare, regardless of what the industry is, it can be self-driving cars, it can be anything you can think of, any industry you can think of right now is operating in legacy systems, meaning these systems that they use, their softwares, their databases, like even all the applications that you see on Zapier and Make.com, for those of you that are familiar with that, if you look at Zapier, they have 5,000 applications that they use, Excel sheets, Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Word documents, every application you have on your computer, on your phone, these cannot communicate to blockchain. They're not compatible. So this is what we mean by legacy systems. They're not compatible with blockchain. But right now, all of these industries are all operating as legacy systems. So in order for all of these industries, which represents thousands and thousands of use cases and represents every industry that we have in the world today, in order for those industries and those use cases and that utility to start using blockchain, you need an operating system that will make them interoperable, that will allow them to connect into blockchain and start using blockchain and start building applications with blockchain. And this is what Quant does. Quant is an operating system. So as opposed to building a blockchain, what Quant did, the CEO of Quant, Gilbert Verdian, and his team, what they did is they built an operating system like Microsoft Windows. So it's like Microsoft Windows on steroids, and I might explain that a bit later. But what Quant did is they created an operating system so that all of the legacy systems, like I was talking about, can connect to blockchain seamlessly with 3 lines of code within minutes. But not only can all of these legacy systems connect to blockchain now, Quant went even further, and they're allowing everybody to pick the best features of each blockchain and build what are called multi-chain applications. So you're building an application that using the best features of each blockchain. Quant is an overlay. It's called Quant Overledger. It overlays all of the blockchains. And all of these legacy systems now can connect into all the blockchains at the same time. And using Quant Overledger operating system, they can pick the best features of each blockchain and build what is called a multi-chain application. So it's an application that uses the best features of whatever blockchain they want to use. So only Quant does that. So Quant's got two advantages over Axelar, which are not even comparable, because it allows all the legacy systems to connect to blockchain. So the whole world that exists today can now merge to blockchain. That's the number one thing that Axelar does not do. You have to understand this, because the whole utility and use cases and volume is in these legacy systems. It's not in blockchain yet. So yes, DeFi, and Quant does DeFi as well, and I'll get to it, right? So there's that interoperability, bringing all the different legacy systems, the whole world that exists, bringing it to blockchain seamlessly. And on top of that, like I said, not only is it able to use one blockchain, but it allows these legacy systems to use all of the blockchains at the same time, whatever which ones it wants. So for example, you can build a multi-chain application in the sense that you can say, I want Ethereum for the smart contract. I want to use a bit of XRP for the instant settlement, and I want to use Hyperledger Fabric for something else, and I want to use the Energy Web token or the Energy Web blockchain for that feature that they have, and I want to use a bit of Avalanche, AVAX for this feature and their strength that they have in that blockchain. And so you're picking the best features of each blockchain and you're building a multi-chain application. So this really is what the world needed to have blockchain adoption properly, so that the whole world could really adopt blockchain. This is why Quant is just so next level. Like, it doesn't even compare, guys. I'm going to prove this in a few minutes here. But I just want you to understand the basic fundamentals, why Quant is so much bigger. I'll probably have to do a part 2 where I'll list all of the use cases. But what you have to understand as well is what Axelar does by connecting all of the blockchains together, Quant can do as well. It's just that, so Quant does what Axelar does, but then Quant does just 1,000 times more. So the potential utility long-term and the use cases and the volume is not even comparable. So Axelar and Quant shouldn't even be mentioned in the same phrase. I want to tell you the truth as to what I see, and I spent 4,000 or 5,000 hours researching Quant. And if anybody is telling you that Axelar is bigger than Quant, I assure you it's only because they haven't done their research in Quant. They haven't spent the thousands of hours of research that is needed to really understand just how massive Quant is. When you look at the team, when you look at the fact that they're re-architecturing the internet with the IETF and MIT, and there's so many things you need to understand about Quant, you need to research to really know just how massive Quant is. So again, if somebody's telling you Axelar is bigger than Quant, it's just because they haven't researched Quant enough. Like, they haven't researched it at all, to be honest. So I'm not trying to diss anybody. Like I said, I'm here to tell you the truth, and you can do whatever you want with that. And I forgot to tell you as well, while I'm at it, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So this is really why Quant is so much bigger. And the other thing too that I want to explain to you is the big volume really, it's in the central banks and the commercial banks and the traditional financial system and these traditional legacy systems. Like I was saying, that's where the real volume and the real utility is trapped right now. It's not in DeFi. DeFi is nothing. For example, the Bank of England, which is one central bank, does more volume in one day than Bitcoin does in a whole year. So Quant is really for enterprise and governments. And like I said, the existing infrastructure that we have today, the whole world, literally everything that exists can connect to blockchain. Axelar is cross-chain. It's not even comparable. It's really not. It's not only should they not even be mentioned in the same phrase, Axelar and Quant shouldn't even be mentioned in the same book. They shouldn't even be mentioned in the same library. Quant is so much bigger than Axelar, like it doesn't even compare. It's just, I'm telling you the truth. So Quant here. So I use Grok and I told them, tell me the basic difference, which is what I explained to you. But right here, it's showing you how the architecture, it's an operating system rather than just a POS blockchain. So the fact that they created an operating system gives it much more power, utility, and unlimited use cases. So the focus here, Quant. The focus of Quant is enterprise and regulatory sectors such as banks, governments, and CBDCs, so that's central bank digital currencies. And one central bank, the Bank of England, does more volume in one day than Bitcoin does in a whole year. And we know that Quant is working with the central banks. Quant has been chosen by the BIS, that's the Bank for International Settlements. It's the central banks for all central banks. Quant has been chosen by them as the true interoperability solution for literally all their CBDC projects. So right here, like I was telling you, and that's what the BIS is, the central banks for all central banks, and the Bank of England is just one central bank out of all of the central banks. And I think there's 150 central banks in the world, like 100, 150, maybe 200. There's a numerous amounts of central banks in the world. And one central bank does more volume than Bitcoin does in a whole year. Again, the utility doesn't even compare. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, guys, but you need to understand, like, Quant is so overwhelmingly bigger than XLR. Like, I can't even believe that people even compare them. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. So here, the use cases, the focus and audience for XLR is DeFi, Web3, and crypto-native ecosystems. So it's focused on crypto-native ecosystems, emphasizes developer tools for multi-chain apps. But again, it's just for cross-chain. It doesn't allow the legacy systems, all the systems that exist, to connect to blockchain seamlessly and start tapping into multi-chain apps. I want to add too, right now, XLR has more blockchains connected to it than Quant does, and that's a fact. It's just because Quant is just rolling out Quant Fusion now, which is literally the full launch. And so now they're going to start connecting blockchains, and they're going to connect them very quick and very easily. Right now, XLR, I believe, has 70 to 80 blockchains connected to it. Some people would get the impression like, oh, XLR has more blockchains connected than Quant, but it's just because Quant is only rolling out their main features that allows literally every blockchain to connect, every system, and so on. I really encourage you to watch my QNT playlist on my YouTube channel. My goodness, if you watch that, you'll have no doubt understand just how massive Quant is. I can't explain all that right now, but I'm just trying to do the comparable between XLR and Quant. The other thing too is Quant supply, the QNT token, only has about 14 million in supply, while XLR has over 1 billion in supply. So XLR has almost 70 times more supply than QNT has. And the other thing too is XLR has an inflationary token. It used to be 8% as per my understanding, and now it's actually about 3.8%. So it's got a 3.8% annual inflation per year, which Quant doesn't have. So again, Quant has literally 1,000 times more utility and use cases that are coming to it, which I'll try to explain later, plus has 70 times less supply than XLR. So imagine, way more use cases, unlimited use cases, and literally 70 times less supply. So, just there alone, what do you think is the potential for the price appreciation of Quant compared to XLR long term? Now, even though Quant, in my opinion, is so much bigger than XLR, doesn't mean that XLR might not have a spike or go up in price sooner than Quant, or a bit more, or take off before Quant does. It's just the way it is, right? Sometimes you can have a project that might not be as big as another one, and it just takes off. Look at these meme coins doing 100 billion market cap. It's just nonsense, right? So that's just how crypto works. So I just want you to know, even though Quant is much bigger, it doesn't mean that XLR wouldn't double in price before Quant does. I'm talking long term here. I'm talking a year, 2 year, 3 year. Quant Overledger has several edges over XLR, particularly for enterprise and regulated applications where compliance, privacy, and integration with non-crypto systems are critical. So Grok 3 here is telling you that Quant has way more advantages, several edges over XLR, because for enterprises where all the volume is, my friend. That's where the volume is. Enterprise and regulated applications such as commercial banking, central banks, cross-border payments, CBDCs, that's where the volume is. It's in regulatory applications. Enterprise and government level central banks. That's where the big money is, my friend. Quant really allows for compliance, privacy, and integration with non-crypto systems. While Axelar excels in crypto-native DeFi and rapid blockchain scaling, Quant Overledger's design as a non-blockchain overlay provides unique utility in bridging traditional and blockchain worlds. Here are the key advantages with a focus on utility and use cases. Quant has superior enterprise and regulatory focus, tailored for institutions, governments, and regulatory industries, offering patented technology that integrates seamlessly with legacy systems like banking, infrastructure, and payment rails. This contrast is just giving an example. There's many more, like I was telling you, but just giving an example of a legacy system. Banking infrastructure and payment rails. Give you an example. Have what are called real-time gross settlement system, RTGS. And this is literally the payment infrastructure for that nation. So the Bank of England, for example, let's say the Bank of Canada would have an RTGS system, real-time gross settlement system, where all the commercial banks and the credit unions in that country are connected to this system, which is connected to the central bank. So it's literally like the clearing system, a payment settlement system or clearing system for the whole nation. That's what the central banks have in each country, or the majority of the countries. It's called the RTGS system. And like I was telling you, some of these systems do more volume than Bitcoin. They do more volume in one day than Bitcoin does in a whole year. What the Grok 3 is telling you here is that Quant provides interoperability between these systems and blockchain, allowing them to seamlessly connect into blockchain and start building what are called multi-chain applications. So this is just one example of 1,000 different legacy systems that Quant connects to blockchain. So Axelar is limited to cross-chain, connecting blockchains together, while literally Quant Overledger is connecting national infrastructure, what we call critical national infrastructure. So it doesn't even compare, my friends. Like, if you understand the magnitudes of central banks, and you need to understand that central banks literally decide when wars start and when they finish. They're that powerful. And then it says, this contrasts with Axelar's more DeFi-centric approach. Axelar is more focused on DeFi, like I told you, which may require additional adaptations for compliance-heavy environments. Utility advantage. Developers need minimal blockchain-specific knowledge to build multi-chain applications, MDApps, making it accessible for non-crypto experts. Fees in fiat converted to QNT simplify adoption for enterprises, avoiding direct crypto exposure. So, use cases. Again, this is ideal for central bank digital currencies and cross-border payments. Cross-border payments, my friend, right now is 10 to 20 trillion per day. Per day, my friend. So if you look at the DTCC, for example, the Depository Trust Corporation Company, they literally do 2.4 quadrillion. I think this year it will be 3.4 quadrillion. That's $3,400 trillion per day that the DCC does in settlements. That's 3,400 trillion per year is the amount of settlements that the DCC does. And this, again, is enterprise, central banks, commercial bank, cross-border settlement. So, but because the DCC is more for derivatives market, which is the biggest market in the world. But that alone is literally 3,400 trillion per year, 3.4 quadrillion. This is just one use case of Quant. Axelar doesn't even touch that. Axelar doesn't touch that volume, that utility, that use case. So then it goes on to say, where Quant's founder Gilbert Verdian's government experience rolling out Fed instant payments provides unmatched connection. So Gilbert Verdian used to be the head of cybersecurity. He was in charge of the cybersecurity for the UK Treasury. He was responsible for protecting the pound. He helped to create the Fed instant payment system for the Federal Reserve. He's the #1 cybersecurity expert in the world. And because he works with central banks and protecting money and the security for central banks, he knew what the world really needed in order for the whole world to be able to adopt blockchain properly. So that's why he built an operating system instead of building another blockchain. Quant enables atomic swaps and asset tokenization across chains while ensuring regulatory compliance, unlike Axelar, which lacks the same depth in traditional finance links. Chain agnostic and overlay design. Overledger, Quant Overledger, which is the operating system for QNT, Quant Overledger doesn't impose its own blockchain or validators, avoiding the overhead of a new consensus mechanism. It treats blockchains as plugins, allowing true agnosticism and easier upgrades without forking. Axelar, while scalable, relies on its proof of stake chain, which could introduce dependencies. Gilbert Verdian, being a top cybersecurity expert in the world, knew that you had to create an operating system. There is no type of blockchain system, layer 1, layer 2, layer 100, it doesn't matter. He knew that no blockchain would ever be able to provide a real, true interoperability solution where all the legacy systems that exist could connect seamlessly, securely, they would be fully scalable, and so on and so forth. He understood that you had to do an operating system. And again, I highly encourage you to watch my QNT playlist. You will understand. I just don't have time to explain to you everything in this video. I'll have to make the video 8 hours, and I'm sure you don't want that. But if you watch my QNT playlist on YouTube, you will understand at what level, just how mind-boggling Quant is. I literally did a series, about 6 videos. They're 30 minutes each. It's so important for you to watch that if you really want to understand the magnitude of Quant. Utility advantage. Quant enables standardized APIs for data, value transfers, smart contract deployment, and messaging across DLTs with layers for privacy, wrapping transaction data. This reduces vendor lock-in and supports hybrid public-private setups. Use cases. For example, one use case would be healthcare. It allows secure data sharing across providers, databases, and blockchains without compromising privacy. It facilitates multi-ledger tracking, combining, for example, Ethereum for smart contract with Hyperledger for enterprise data, offering more flexibility, Axelar's GMP for complex regulatory workflows. So it's way more flexible, way more secure, it's privacy-centric, it's more scalable, it doesn't create vendor lock-ins. I'm telling you, Quant is the solution, my friend. The advantages of Quant over stronger emphasis on privacy and compliance in multi-chain apps. You have to have compliance. If you want to deal with CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, money, and so on and so forth, you have to have compliance. You have to have compliance. AML compliance, KYC, all these things. It has to be secure, safe. These central banks and governments, everything has to be compliant. Quant offers that. So, Quant Overledger's layered architecture separates transactions and messaging, enabling compliant data handling. Axelar prioritizes speed and DeFi, but may need extra layers for enterprise privacy. And as soon as you start adding layers, you start adding more risk. You start adding problems in scalability and security. With Axelar, if you want to be able to even come close to doing some of the things Quant is doing, like separating the transactions and messaging, you can't do it with Axelar. You'll have to introduce extra layers, which again makes it less secure, more risk of hacks and scalability issues. So the utility advantage. QNT's model locks tokens for licenses, creating sustained demand from enterprise users, potentially leading to more stable value accrual than Axelar's staking-focused economies. So there is definitely utility for the token. But Quant, what happens is the enterprises and governments and anybody building applications have to buy licenses. And some of these corporations have to pay millions and millions of dollars in licensing fees to use Quant Overledger. And when they pay for that license, Quant will convert the fee into QNT tokens, and it will lock it up for a year. It will lock up those tokens for the duration of the annual license, creating a huge demand for the token. So number 4 is the Overledger's API first approach makes it easier to connect non-blockchain systems, like I was telling you, and the use cases, government projects like instant payment systems or multi-jurisdictional asset management, where Overledger's neutrality avoids the all-or-nothing adoption risks noted in critiques. This could drive higher long-term utility in maturing markets, especially as regulations evolve. So now I'm going to show you everything that Axelar connects, which is literally all the blockchains. So blockchains, blockchain applications, and crypto wallets. And then I'm going to show you a list of everything that Quant connects. My goodness, you can't even imagine. Actually, let me show you Quant first. Hey, my friend, whether you're a day trader or hodler, I've got a game changer for you. BTCC Exchange, founded in 2011, is the world's longest running crypto platform with 0 hacks and licenses in many countries. No KYC or VPN needed, and signing up is fast. For whales or pro traders, it's a dream. Top 5 on CoinMarketCap, unmatched liquidity, low fees, plus 250x leverage. Copy trading lets newbies make $100, $200, even $500 per day, just by copying another trader and he does the trading for you. Some people copy all the money by Q because he currently has a 93% success rate and he earns a great percentage. But leverage and copy trading is risky, so only use what you can afford to lose, or seriously don't do it at all. I launched this channel to share crucial crypto insights, not to see you make reckless moves and lose your hard-earned money. BTCC has over 300 crypto available, including XRP, QNT, XLM, and HBAR. Use my referral link on the screen, in the description, or in the pinned comment for up to $10,000 USDT rewards, up to 50% off fees, and VIP perks. Never keep all your crypto on exchanges. Use reputable hardware wallets. Links below. Now let's get back to the video. So I asked Grok3 to tell me the list of everything Quant connects, but I said don't bother telling me the blockchains because I know Quant connects all blockchains. Just tell me all the legacy systems and all the different types of systems that Quant connects aside from the blockchains. Just give me everything else because I know it connects all the blockchains. So this is the list of what it connects. Quant can connect, right? So database types, distributed databases such as scalable decentralized data stores for enterprise use, legacy databases, traditional siloed databases in existing IT infrastructure. So like Oracle, MySQL, so on and so forth. Quant will connect external data sources, so general category for off-chain databases, through integrations like Zapier and Pipedream. Alone has 5,000 applications, so every application you have on your computer can connect into Quant. Facebook, anything you can think of on your computer. Any application, my friend. All of your Microsoft suite, everything. Database-like apps such as Google Sheets, Airtable, cloud-based relationship database, Notion, which is note-taking and database hybrid, Microsoft Excel, for example. So anything that is a legacy file-based databases. Now, anything that is a file system type, so any type of file system can connect to Quant. Overledger supports connections to distributed and legacy file systems via APIs without requiring modifications. Specific types include distributed file stores, so decentralized storage systems for data interoperability, distributed file systems, like Zapier, Pipedream, so any cloud can be connected. Dropbox, for example, so any hosting services, file hosting services can be connected into Quant. Systems like OneDrive, which is Microsoft's legacy file system integration, that can be connected to Quant. That's an enterprise content management. So any management software, any CRM software, anything you can think of can be connected to Quant. And that connects. Because again, you have to understand, the whole world right now, whether it doesn't matter, any industry that we have is operating on databases. So messaging software, file systems, and database systems, like it's all trapped there. If you want to move this world to blockchain, these need to be able to connect because you can't just shut off. The central bank can't shut off their system for 3, 4, 5 months and literally try to integrate into blockchain. Whatever system the world uses needs to be able to seamlessly connect into blockchain seamlessly with 3 lines of code like Quant does, or it just won't happen. The old world will not be able to move with the new world, which is blockchain, without Quant. So what you have to understand is right now we are technically in the 3rd industrial revolution. We went from the manufacturing age, which was the 2nd industrial revolution, to the 3rd industrial revolution, which was the information age, which was the internet. Now we're going from the 3rd industrial revolution to the 4th industrial revolution, which is the tokenization age, which is blockchain and AI. So we're going from the 3rd industrial revolution to the 4th industrial revolution. And that cannot happen without Quant. Quant's the operating system that allows us, the whole world right now, that is stuck in legacy systems, to move on to DLT and technically AI as well. So different file system types that Quant connects. So Overledger supports connections to distributed and legacy file systems via APIs without requiring modifications. Specific file system types include distributed file stores, distributed file systems, Google Drive, Dropbox, for example, which is a file hosting, messaging software types. So these are other things that Quant connects. So email, different email, so Outlook, any type of email can be connected. Message-oriented middleware, Slack, so team messaging and collaboration, Microsoft Teams, Discords, Twilio, for example, so SMS and voice messaging can be connected to Quant Overledger. SendGrid, for example, which is an email delivery system, can be connected. You can connect any type of middleware type, so message-oriented middleware, vendor-independent for cross-system communications, vendor-independent wire-level protocol middleware for standardized data exchanges, MuleSoft, like API-led connectivity middleware, Boomi, which is integration platform as a service. It can also interconnect any IoT type, so Internet of Things devices, so IoT devices and networks, smart lighting IoT, Google Smart Home devices, IoT Automation Hub. It can also connect, like I was telling you, cloud-based IoT platforms. It can connect any type of financial system types, traditional financial systems, banking backends, and compliance tools. Quant can interconnect with blockchain seamlessly. The legacy financial systems, like I was telling you, centralized payment providers like Western Union, banking infrastructures, financial applications for multi-ledger finance apps, Stripe, so payment processing applications and software and payment processing companies, PayPal, digital wallets, QuickBooks, cloud accounting softwares. It can connect payment rails such as existing payment rails, so traditional settlement systems like ACH and SWIFT, Stripe, so bank cards and bank transfers, global payment systems like PayPal, Square, POS and payments, API types. So it can connect HTTP APIs, XML APIs, JSON APIs for structured data integration, external APIs, blockchain programming interfaces. Everything I've been listing to you for the past 10-15 minutes, Axelar cannot connect one of those things. Not one, as per my understanding. Because again, Axelar is really specialized for cross-chain interoperability. And it's great. It's really great at doing cross-chain. Don't get me wrong. But it's very limited to that. It doesn't do anything else that Quant does, literally. So Quant, again, can connect external APIs, so general off-chain sources. It can connect blockchain programming interfaces, so Overledger's own for legacy bridging. Salesforce, so CRM, customer relationship management softwares, APIs. It can connect HubSpot, so marketing softwares, API, e-commerce APIs, so e-commerce softwares and databases, communication software. So the protocol types, it also connects any type of protocols. So two-phase commit protocols, vendor-independent wire protocols for middleware, coordinated transactions, interledger protocol, for example, which is what XRP Ledger is built on or uses, the interledger protocol. It connects that as well. It connects other legacy system types, so legacy IT systems for enterprise setups, legacy applications, systems requiring integration, so hybrid, public-private. It also connects off-chain data sources, Salesforce, CRM, harvest, time tracking softwares, AI tools. It connects AI tools. It can connect AI, like I said, out systems, low-code apps, custom legacy bridging, and applications like Make.com and Zapier and all those things. So it gives you an example. So, guys, it doesn't compare because, like I was telling you, everything's trapped in these legacy systems. To bring that to blockchain, you need Quant Overledger. The volume and the utility and the demand, all the use cases for every industry in the world we have today are stuck in these legacy systems. The banking world, every industry is using legacy systems. Only Quant can bring the old world to the new world. Only Quant can bring us from the third industrial age or the third industrial revolution, which is the information age, to the fourth industrial revolution. And it's all going to use the QNT token, my friend. So here is everything that the QNT token needs to be used for within the network. Enterprise licenses, like I was telling you, if anyone wants to use Quant Overledger, which they're all going to have to use it, just like Microsoft Windows, 90% of the world uses it right now. Everybody has to use it. The enterprises have to pay licenses, and the fees are going to depend, the amount of fees that they have to pay per year, the enterprises or the central banks, commercial banks, or whoever's building with Quant. The fees are going to depend on enterprise license fees determined on the basis of number of users, number of employees, application type, and volume of transactions. Some enterprises pay $50 million per year for these major licenses, especially the real-time gross settlement systems, the central banks. These are massive systems. So when a corporation is handling the money for the whole world or a whole country, the licenses that the commercial banks or the central banks would be paying, IBM or a company managing their RTGS, the licenses are ridiculously expensive. So again, this will lock up the QNT token. Then the developer licenses. The developers, anybody developing on Quant Overledger has to, again, pay for their licenses, and it's going to lock up QNT tokens for a year, for 12 months. Then you've got the platform fees, and you've got identity and account. A minimum QNT holding amount is put in place for every participant of the Overledger ecosystem. Then you've got transaction processing. QNT tokens are used to validate, sign, and encrypt every transaction that flows through Overledger. Every enterprise client, developer, user, and application validates each transaction using their QNT linked to their ID and account. No transaction can flow through Overledger without being securely validated by QNT tokens. So QNT is used to, again, process transactions. Like I was telling you here, the Bank of England does more volume in one day than Bitcoin does in a whole year. The Bank of England, because they're going to use Quant Overledger, guaranteed, Quant Overledger, the Bank of England is going to have to pay fees for every transaction that goes through Quant Overledger. Now, it's not the same as XRP. XRP is a bridge currency. When you want to go from one type of asset to another, XRP is the bridge currency. Quant is overlaying XRP Ledger, including all of the other blockchains, and is allowing the central banks to build multi-chain applications. So the CBDCs right now, Quant is providing the programmability, the interoperability, and custom APIs for the CBDCs, while XRP is the Internet of Value, and it's providing the liquidity, and the CBDCs are being created on the XRP ledger. But again, Quant still has to be used because Quant is providing the programmability, interoperability, and custom APIs so that the central bank, commercial banks, and fintechs can build. Quant is allowing the world to build use cases for the central bank digital currencies because Quant's the only solution that allows you to build multi-chain applications. So that's why Quant is being used by the central banks of all central banks, the BIS, and other central banks, again, to build multi-chain applications so that the world can use CBDCs. I'm dead set against CBDCs. They're not good, but we're going to have them. So the majority of CBDCs are being built on private ledgers of the XRP ledger, and they're going to use the public XRP ledger to settle transactions. So just so there's no confusion, the CBDCs are being built on top of the XRP ledger are coming from Quant. Because Gilbert Verdian said, when he was talking about the regulated liability network, which is technically the XRP ledger, he was saying we provided the programmability, interoperability, and custom API, but we also partnered with R3, who's bringing over the shared ledger where all of the tokenized assets will reside. The shared ledger is the XRP ledger. I proved that in other videos. So the shared ledger, regulated liability network, regulated settlement network, used to be called the regulated Internet of Value. The unified ledger, it's all the XRP ledger. Quant is providing the programmability, interoperability, and custom APIs for the XRP ledger, which is technically those 5-6 different terminologies that the central banks are using so that you can't figure out what it is. So again, every transaction that's going to be processing, that's going to go through the CBDCs, is going to have to use Quant. That's one use case. And it doesn't even take the biggest application or solution that would ever be built with Axelar is not even going to be 1% of just one central bank or 5% of what one central bank will process in a year through Quant Overledger. Just keep that in mind. Very important. I'm not saying that Axelar is not going to be big, and I'm not saying it can't do 20, 30, even 50, maybe 100x. God knows. But it does not compare to Quant. It does not compare at all. And again, Axelar has 70 times more supply than Quant. Plus, it has a 3.8% inflation per year. It inflates the supply to reward the participants and so on. It has a 3.8 inflation per year, which Quant does not have. So application users, they have to hold QNT to use the applications. You have gateway and staking. Again, that is massive because we as QNT holders, we host gateways. We can use our QNT tokens to host gateways to process the transactions, and we get paid rewards. So the fees that are being paid in QNT, we actually get to collect those fees. So you have gateway and staking as well. So that's another utility. And then you have investment and store of value. So again, Quant acts as a store of value as well because it has limited supply. So these are the 8 different utilities that Quant has. If you really want to understand the magnitude of Quant, please watch my QNT playlist. I'm going to put it here at the end of the video. And I'm also going to create a part 2 where I'm going to show you all the different use cases and for Quant compared to Axelar. Appreciate all your support. Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment below. Also, I started doing one-on-one consultations. I don't have much time. I won't be doing tons of them, but you should see a link in the description for one-on-one consultations if any of you are interested. And again, thank you so much, guys, for all the love in the comments and the support. I love you guys. Wishing you a great day, great evening, great night wherever you are. And God bless you all. Thank you.